Welcome to the Unfinished Work Week, a show for those working 55, 60, or 65 hours a week.
Here, I'm sorry we're 10 minutes late, but you know, when you're in New York City and in Tampa at the same time, it's a hard thing to do to get here on time, you know? So anyhow, we've got some big changes going on over here, and I'm sorry we're a little bit late. I got to tell you about these changes. Number one, it's not the unfinished work week anymore. That's by the boards. You can still buy my book, The Unfinished Work Week, by going to my website, www.theunfinishedworkweek.com. Go on there, great website. You can also buy my book, and I'll send it to you, and I'll even autograph it for you. Great stuff. But tonight, our show is a different name. Our show is being changed to Talking Business with Andy Gutierrez. Solutions for the stress-filled work environment. Now, the way we get the solutions is by identifying the problems and then having you call in. My guest over here, as you can see, real big guest, didn't show up, but anyhow, maybe we'll call and get them back in that chair. I don't know what I'm going to do. But this is going to be completely ad-lib tonight. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about the things that causes stress. We're going to talk a little bit about last week when we had Trish Dwyer on, which was, I just think she was just so full of information. She was fantastic. Anyhow, when you want to call in tonight, remember, shut down that volume on that computer, otherwise there's going to be feedback, and I do want you to call in tonight. Please, call in. I'm here by myself. I got to talk to somebody. People tell me I'm not, I'm half crazy, so I can talk to myself for a long time. Let me tell you something. But anyhow, our number here tonight is our regular number, which is 813-639-8255. Call in even if you want to say, hey, I love the new set. I love you being in New York City and at Tampa at the same time. I think that's pretty cool. Anyhow, I do want to thank our friend Trevor Lott. He is such a great guy. He has got us number one on the web pages all through Europe and Asia. When you look up a radio show or a radio, TV show, you're going to find this show. And it's all because of Trevor Lott. So try contacting Trevor at worldmarkets.biz. Normally it's a firm involved with companies expanding to different countries, but they also do SEO in Europe. Oh, and by the way, I got a phone call coming in right now, so hold on. Let's find out who this is. Hello, you're live on Talking Business with Andy G, our new name. Who am I speaking with, please?
Andy G, you look fantastic, and can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Because it looks fantastic. You look fantastic. And I must say, I just wanted to introduce myself tonight to the listeners out there. And my name is Valerie Bass. I'm the producer for Andy's show. We're going to have some exciting stuff coming up. And I'm very excited about the new format and the change of the name and the new backdrop. And we're going to have some dynamite guests on. And I wanted to also just mention to you that any of the listeners out there who would like to do a segment with us, a business segment with us, please give me a call. 561-755-7068.
Say that slower. Say it slower, Val.
Oh, okay. I'm too many coffees, Andy. You know me, darling.
I know you. You got to slow down. Now, what's the number they can reach you at?
561-755-7068. And you know what?
What?
We can not only put everybody up on have a wonderful talk with you, an interview with you. We can do advertising. There's so many things that we're going to be doing, folks. We look forward to your callings, but we appreciate you. And Andy, I just wanted to, if I may, introduce Dr. Stoller Howard, who's been anxious to speak with you. He loves what you do there, and he has some exciting things to talk about too. And I would like to. And if you want to, and anybody who would like to reach Dr. Stoller, you can just call my number. And may I go ahead and just put you on now?
Yeah, his name is Howard.
This is Howard. Andy.
Hello, Doctor.
Good evening, Andy. It sounds like she's putting me on again.
Hey, Doctor, how are you?
I am very well, thank you, my friend. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. As you can see, I'm over here ad-libbing as I go along the way, but I understand you are into neuro-linguistics a little bit, huh?
Well, at least a little bit, yes. I have a saying about that, and that is, remember, the most important person who will speak to you all day is you.
Well,
so
yeah, that's what I've been doing all night here.
Talking to yourself?
I love to do that, Doctor. I love to do that. However, you know, I delve into that. I spoke at Wharton concerning the brain and neurolinguistics, and I'm heavy into body language and the selling process and in business meetings and how that all wraps into business. You know, most people just talk about it on a scientific level, but I also brought it to the business level. So we're going to have to talk about that sometime in the future.
Excellent. I would really look forward to that.
Now, I understand you've got some new products out that are aimed at helping people that are really, you know, they're strung out and from the stress at work and...
Yeah, actually, that and a lot deeper healing levels as well. I'm working very much now with something called IMRS, and that stands for Intelligent Magnetic Resonance Stimulation. This is PEMF, Pulsed Electromagnetic Frequency Therapy.
Well, I'm sure that just went over everybody's head.
Yeah, well, it's a fascinating area of medicine called energy medicine. And I think most people today at least have some idea that the landscape of medicine as we know it is changing dramatically. As a matter of fact, in the very near future, the landscape of medicine will probably be pretty unrecognizable as compared to what it has been historically, and certainly what it is today. There have been some very prophetic tidbits out there sort of directing us to take a glimpse at what the future will be. And one of my favorites, does everyone remember Star Trek? I'm sure plenty of you do.
Sure.
And our favorite intergalactic Dr. Bones had a device called the tricorder. Remember that, Andy?
Yeah, that bling thing.
He used to wave this device
over. Yeah, and it made that noise.
A person. Huh?
It made that noise when it waved that thing around.
It would diagnose and it would also treat. Okay?
Oh, I didn't realize.
So what we're talking about here, pretty much everyone knows what an MRI is. It's magnetic resonance imaging. It's a very advanced form of diagnostic radiology, which can show us a beautiful picture of the inside of the human body in full color. So anyway, this device that we're speaking of here, the IMRS, Intelligent Magnetic Resonance Stimulation, uses a very similar type, pretty much the same type of energy, but uses it actually for healing, and healing at a cellular level.
Holy cow.
So, yes, it's very fascinating. There's a full body mat. In fact, this IMRS is the most advanced and most used form of electromagnetic therapy in the world, with over 16 years of experience. and it is just growing like crazy in many, many countries. In fact, it's being used in hospitals in some very well-known countries in the emergency room, because what it does is it really helps to readjust the frequencies at a cellular level. So this can immediately begin the healing process, whatever that is going to ultimately take. For instance, people walking into an emergency room in certain hospitals, very well-known hospitals, will walk through these blankets, which are specially equipped to create this electromagnetic field, which is tuned to frequencies that will help to readjust all of the human cellular frequencies that are out of whack. It's based really on the Schumann resonance of the Earth. It's based on the Earth's electromagnetic field. Now, we found out when astronauts took extended trips in space that they started to develop all sorts of health problems, and some of them were pretty serious, involving the heart as well as bone loss and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What we finally found out that the reason most of these were happening was because of an extended vacation, if you will, from being in the Earth's electromagnetic fields. So we know now that the Earth's electromagnetic fields are actually essential for our life and health to continue. And that is what this is really based on, restoring those frequencies. There are so many different things that interfere with and block those frequencies from us today, even though we're right here on Earth. Such things as the electromagnetic fields that we know can be harmful, such as things like cell phones, computers, microwave ovens. There's a lot of research out there showing that many of these things can be very harmful. Well, we're beginning to understand a lot more now exactly why that's happening and how to fix it. So I'm very excited about this field, Andy, which is really a big part of the whole future of medicine and healing.
Yeah. Well, I hate to cut you short here, doctor, but, we have to move on. But you just mentioned something. You said cell phones. Every person out there has got one of these little babies, and it's always hooked up to their ear, whether it's a Bluetooth or not, whatever. But this electric-magnetic field that you're talking about, that we're surrounded by in our future discussions, we have to discuss telomeres because, that's part of the breaking cell. And as the telomeres get smaller and smaller, the cells can die. So, yeah, right? I'm not crazy. I'm half crazy, but not all crazy. But
let's put it this way. You may be crazy, but you're not stupid.
Thanks a bunch, Doctor. Well, okay, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's been wonderful. It's fascinating speaking with you. You are a very highly educated individual, and that's always great for me, very stimulating. I look forward to speaking with you again in the very near future, and I want to thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show this evening.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. Have a nice night.
Absolutely a pleasure, and you as well. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you. Well, that was really cool, huh, Chris?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. The way that things are going on and progressing, this stress factor that I keep on telling people, here, I don't know if he can get a close-up of this or not, but, this is your head. They had this thing on TV years ago, this is your brain on heroin, and it had a brain and you had eggs in a frying pan, it was frying. But this picture right here, which I bring on all of my speaking engagements, and by the way, I do go out and talk to groups, and matter of fact, I'm going to be holding a webinar for Columbia University on May 21st. I'm also talking at the SHRM chapter over there in Jacksonville on May the 1st. And, I'm a speaker. I go out there and I speak, but I also bring my little props here because they're visual. When you see what your mind is really going through in today's corporate life, you know, it's very, very difficult to hold an attention span on what you should be holding attention spans on. Now that's going to lead me back to this QB thing. You know, a couple of weeks back, we had a friend of mine on the show. And the name of that show was Finding Happiness on the QB Farm, because most organizations don't have offices anymore. They're expensive. They have open, you know, there's no ceilings, and they're cubes. And they can make a cube any size they want to make the cube. But the thing is that when you're working and having all this go around your head, everything's going around your head, think about what's going around your head attacking you for attention. The guy on the next side of the cube or the lady on the next side of the cube. The person behind you in your cube, because you just don't have that cube by yourself. The telephones are ringing. You know, somebody's making coffee. Somebody's running the copying machine. All these things are banging your head, because they want your attention. So how in the world can you work under those circumstances? How can you have controlled attention so that what you're looking at is getting into your working memory if you're being bombarded by all these other noises that are going out there? Asking your brain for attention, pounding your brain for attention. What do? And like I said on that show, do yourself a favor. Go out, get yourself a nice set of Bose earphones. Nice set. It'll block out all the noises all around you, and you'll get more work done because you're going to have full concentration on what you're doing. Give that a try. By the way, I have to, the other thing I have to do tonight, I have to thank my friend Maureen. She called in a couple of weeks ago, and she said she was a fan of the show, and I appreciate that, Maureen. And she talked about SaneBox. And I'd never heard of SaneBox. Chris had never heard of SaneBox. Nobody had ever heard of SaneBox. And she prefaced it with the way that I feel about emails. Now, it's not just the way that I feel about emails, folks. You know, everything on the show, I told you before, is not necessarily my idea. And if it is my idea, it's my idea because I've done a lot of research on it. The main waste of time in a corporation is emails. People hardly pick up the phone anymore. People hardly get up and walk 2 cubes down to talk to somebody. They just put it in an email and get it off their desk. It's crazy. And that's how people get 100, 150, 200 emails a day. And what does that mean? It means those people have to stop and look at those crazy emails. If not read them, they're not going to get read. So a lot of those emails aren't going to get read. So anyhow, my friend Maureen said, have you heard of SaneBox? And I said, no, but I'll check into it for you, Maureen. And so I did. I went online and I checked. Fantastic reviews. It's unbelievable that the software that they've got, and you don't have to download it to your computer. You don't have to worry about viruses or anything. It learns, and you tell it certain things, but then it learns the emails that are important to you. And the ones that are not important to you, they put into another file. So the only thing that comes up to you are those important emails. Unbelievable. I mean, it was written up. They were really happy with it. PC World wrote it up. And anyhow, it's like I said, it doesn't get downloaded to your computer. So it's outside your computer. You don't have to worry about somebody getting into your computer, making a virus into your computer, or anything of that nature. The only thing that's kind of, that they said was a shortcoming, and there was only one shortcoming, and that's pretty good for a review, was the fact of the pricing of this. Now, it's not that expensive. And the other question Maureen asked was, can it be used in businesses? Now, Chris over here, you know, and he's a pretty bright fellow, said more than likely You're not going to be able to have that in business. And the person I was talking to that day said, more than likely you can't have it in a business because they dictate what you have on your computer because it's a computer that's owned by the business. But it's not downloaded. It doesn't become part of that computer. You can use it. You can use this. So do me a favor, don't buy it because I'm telling you to buy it because I don't want you calling me back and saying, hey, you're crazy. I want you first to go to PC World, go on the internet, and Google SaneBox reviews, and then you'll get down to the PC World, and then you will see that review. And believe me, I'm giving you another hint of how to stop the stress in your life. And one of the biggest ways of doing it is by managing your inbox a lot better than what you're managing it today because it's taken up to 50% of that. Now, since I'm touching on email right now, I think you've all heard of the McKinsey report, right? They're probably one of the best business consultants in the United States. Now, have any of you or any of you managers or supervisors, which I doubt, but if you are listening to me and you have supervisors and managers, tell them to look in the McKinsey report and what they think of email. Because here it is. They know email is taking up all this time, unproductive time, not just for your employees, not just for the internal email, but all those crazy emails that you send out to your vendors and really your co-working enterprises and your businesses. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I know of a case, I won't say where, but this manager is completely flooded. I mean, right now he's so overworked, this poor guy doesn't even know what day it is. And he forgets that he's already asked these vendors questions. He sends them these emails, and believe me, this guy does not write short emails. It's one of these long things. I'm having a conversation with you, and I remind you, email is not meant for a conversation. It's meant to get the key topic across and then get out. So he forgets he sends these to these vendors, asking them to do all kinds of research and get back to him on this and that. Well, what does that do? He sends out another one a month later because he forgot he sent the first one out. Complete waste of time. It's crazy. And the reason that they do this, when somebody sees a big email coming through like that and they get to know who the heck is sending them and writing them, they say, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read it. If it's so darn important, he'll write it again. And we all feel that way, and we all do that. We all do that. But what a complete waste of our time, and a waste of his time, and wasting vendors' time. Well, excuse me, I'm getting carried away here again, but I will tell you this. The McKinsey report says emails are going to be a thing of the past. And you already know it's a thing of the past in Atos. You already know it's almost 99.9% a thing of the past in IBM. And what's it going to be replaced by? Social media. Business social media. Not Facebook, not saying, I went fishing over the weekend. No. It's going to be about business. And why? Because it becomes public. Now, McKinsey says that not only is this going to replace internal email, they're talking about it replacing email to enterprises outside your company. And in other words, instead of you emailing another person in another company, no. If it's about your company doing business with their company, it will be on a social media with a group, within that group, and that's where they're going to see it. It's remarkable. And McKinsey says this is going to save you, listen to this, it's going to save you 38% of your productive time. you'll be able to produce 38% more productivity in that time. You'll be able to go home, enjoy yourself, exercise, eat right, get healthier, just by what? Just by reducing that gosh darn email and using today's technologies that are aimed at helping you become more efficient at what you do and to stop redundancy. McKinsey also said this: if management does not buy into it, it's never going to happen. And you know what? They don't like change. Managers don't like change. They don't like to look forward. They don't like to look forward like IBM looked forward. They don't like to look forward like Atos looked forward. They don't like to look forward like PepsiCo looks forward. They don't like to look forward like Intel looks forward. But why don't they do that? As a whole, our economy, our business relationships, our companies will become more efficient, more productive, more effective. You'll work less hours. You'll make less mistakes. And guess what? We'd become a leader again. Well, I understand that we've got our break coming up right now. I'm out of breath. If you want, make sure you give us a call on the other side. And that number is 813-639-8255. I know a lot of you probably aren't there anymore because we got on late. But if you're still there, I want to hear from you. So give me a phone call, okay? Listen to this message, please.
5-hour work week. Who created it? Management or employees? Management claims their employees lack necessary collaborative communication and critical thinking skills, while employees feel management helped create the infamous 37% unproductive work week. Employers counter with the claim 20% of workers lack even the most rudimentary creative skills, while 71% of workers claim managers create ineffective and irrelevant meetings. Finally, executives want people who can make decisions, interact with their team in a manner that is easily understood. But if employees spend over 50% of the time managing their email, do they really have the time to learn new techniques? Well, so who is right? The answer is neither. First, both managers and employees are a management team, so stop pointing fingers at one another. And the management teams are complaining of the lack of effective communication. How many managers or employees understand the rules of memorable interaction? And certainly there are rules. Here are a few facts you should know before communicating. First, 90% of the day's events are forgotten. So how do you get into that 10% retention pool? Second, you only have the capacity to remember 8 new things in an hour. Just 8 new things. How much new information was included in your last meeting? And finally, we speak over 16,000 words a day, but it's like talking to ourselves because 86% of what we remember is seen and only 9% heard. So reduce the 55-hour work week while creating management teams that have effective, memorable interaction with coworkers, work well together, and take action on their own. Have the management team visit theunfinishedworkweek.com to learn all the rules to effective, memorable interaction. Or just call me, Andy Gutierrez, at 609-410-9291 for an appointment.
Well, here we are back again, and you are listening and watching Talking Business with me, Andy G., Andy Gutierrez, but they call me Andy G. because my last name is 12 letters long. And as you can see, I am broadcasting to you from the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City by way of Tampa, Florida. This is a real cool thing, to be in New York and Tampa at the same time. That's not bad. So anyhow, let's get back to our discussions regarding solutions for stress-filled work environments. Now, last week we had a lady on the show. Her name was Trish Dwyer. She's a hypnotherapist, also a registered nurse. And we talked about her having clients come to her that do have chronic stress. Now, chronic stress can take 6 to 10 years off your lifespan. That's proven. That's proven. Why? Well, because you don't have any time to rejuvenate your body. The doctor that was on the show before was talking about cells. And to give you a little idea, our big thing in our bodies are chromosomes. Chromosomes are like a Q-tip with a cotton at either end. And those cottons are called telomeres on a chromosome. And by the natural aging process, the telomeres get smaller and smaller until the aging process says the telomeres are gone. Now, once the telomeres are gone, the cells that are inside the chromosomes cannot split anymore, and they die. Now, what affects this? That beautiful thing called cortisol. Chronic stress and any type of stress produces the chemical cortisol in your brain and in your body. And this cortisol makes the aging process of these telomeres that much more faster. So that all of a sudden, instead of your telomeres shrinking at a natural pace, they're accelerated. And since they accelerate, when the cells break, when they divide with the same amount of telomeres that are on the chromosomes. So that if you have no more telomeres on that chromosome when you're 54, guess what? That cell dies. And that cell, the main areas that we're talking about are the immune system and also your heart. So when I say to you, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you working 55, 60, 65 hours a week? I mean it. You're killing yourself. Your body needs to be taken care of. So, this leads us to what Trish had to say last week. I said to Trish, if people know that they're killing themselves, and by the way, the Japanese have a word for that. The Japanese call it karochi, Karochi, karochi. It means death by working too much. Karochi. You can die working. And in Japan, that is not an honorable death. That is not an honorable death. So, my friends, don't commit karochi. But what's making you do it? We asked Trish, we said, if people know that it's not good for you, they don't feel good, they're eating lousy. Everybody says, manage stress by going out and exercising. I got news for you. When do you have time to exercise? You eat at your desk. You're working 55, 60, 65 hours a week. When are you going to exercise? 10 o'clock at night? I mean, you'll be attacked by a skunk or something when you're trying to jog down the street. That's insane. It is insane. So I said, why do people do it? Well, Trish turns around and told us that, number one, low self-esteem is one of the major products of making you work those crazy hours. Now, low self-esteem. And I said to her, wait a minute, you got supervisors, you got managers, you got VPs, you've got a regular worker that does a hell of a job for you. They've got to have good self-esteem. What does this mean? People have to pat you on the back all the time, and say, you're doing a good job, you're doing a good job. Well, yeah, some people really do need that. They need that to lift themselves up. But a lot of people that are successful follow the ideas of Warren Buffett and Donald Trump, who say, if you firmly believe you're the best, then go out and do it. but you got to believe it. Now, a lot of people say they're the best or think they're the best, but if they really did, they wouldn't need that pat on the back. Because this self-esteem that we're talking about really comes from you. You work for you. You don't work for anybody else. You work for you. Your body tells you what you can do. Your body tells you when you're tired. I mean, I live with a person that works these crazy hours, okay? Does it affect them as far as health is concerned? Absolutely. Does it affect them as far as personality is concerned? Absolutely. Does it affect them when they finally can take a deep breath and lie down and go to sleep? Yes, that affects them. Self-esteem, low self-esteem, because they're used to getting the job done. Now what happens? The manager, the supervisor, passes more work down the line, right? Because they know this particular person really works their rear ends off, and they're going to work those crazy hours to get these projects done, so they keep on pushing it down on them. And what are they getting? They're not getting a happy knowledge worker. They're actually getting a worker that is working inefficiently and making more mistakes. Noted, they're making more mistakes, just like the person I told you before. He's a director. He forgets he sends out emails. He sends out the same damn email a month later. What does that tell you? It tells you that this fellow who is passing work down the train, down the chain, doesn't even know what's going on. Because his head is what? What my picture tells you. Your head is being swarmed with all these outside influences. You can't remember them. Just like you can't remember an email that's 100 words long. Your brain is not going to do it. Your brain's not going to do it. So since the show is about solutions, right, to the stress-filled work environment, and we've already given you what? We've given you a couple of hints already of how to do it. Our other hint now is to say, okay, let's look at your body. Let's look at your self-esteem. Let's look at you. Normally I tell people, keep a scrapbook. Keep a scrapbook. Keep a scrapbook right there on a file on your computer, and every good thing that ever happens, every compliment you get, anybody from inside the company says, geez, this person is dynamite. Any vendor that says anything, any customer that says anything, put it like a diary in your scrapbook. And when you start to feel low because you're being deluged with work that no possible human being could get done in the time allotted, look at that scrapbook. Look at all the accolades you've gotten because of who you are and what you can do when people let you do your work. We've got to get your self-esteem up. You know, Eleanor Roosevelt said something to the effect of, you allow people can't make you feel bad. You allow people to make you feel bad. So don't allow them to do it. You know, when this boss comes to you and says, I know you, they don't even care you're working 60 or 65 hours a week. And when they come and say, I want this project done, even though your company might have already said no more projects because it's an overload and we don't have the manpower anymore, you've got to push back. You've got to push back. You've got to realize you're good. They can't live without you right now. They're not going to find anybody better than you right now. And you want to maintain sane. You want to get your life back. You want to get healthy again. You want to exercise. You want to eat right. It takes time. And you're not going to get that time sitting in that chair, in that office, or sitting in that chair in your home office while the rest of your family is watching TV and wondering, where's mommy? Where's daddy? Right? Well, you know, that's not good. And you're going to have to learn how to do that. And it's not easy because you are so used, as Trish said last week, you're so used to pleasing people. You're so used to going that extra mile to get something done. But the bad part about this is that management constantly overloads you, that you can't see the end of the tunnel. You don't even see a speck of light at the end of that tunnel saying, if I can get there, I can get caught up. They don't do this in Europe, my friends. They know in Europe a work-life balance. They know something about having a happy employee. And that's why I love that new song that's a rage today. It's called Happy by Pharrell Williams. And he says right in it, I don't care. I got to warn you, I don't care. You're going to try to put me down. I don't care because it's not going to affect me. Why? Because I'm happy. And that's the way that you've got to look at life. You've got to become happy. All right, Chris has already told me it's time for me to get out. So I'm very sorry none of you called in tonight. I guess we started late and you all shut off anyhow, and I didn't see anybody. So I do want to thank again our sponsors that's got us up there, number one across Europe, Trevor Lott. Email Trevor. He's got an email at www.world-markets.biz. He can do the same thing for you with the SEO. And the other thing is, I want to remind you of this. Chronic stress takes 6 to 10 years off your lifespan. And I guarantee you this, your managers are not going to come to your funeral. Good night.
Thanks for watching. If you would like more information on what you just heard today, or you would like to obtain your own copy of The Unfinished Workweek, go to theunfinishedworkweek.com. That's www.theunfinishedworkweek.com.